Hard news leads are relatively easy, right? Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Get them in the right order. There's your lead. A feature story allows more leeway, which is a good thing, but it also can make the lead a little bit more difficult to write. A good feature lead should hook the reader in and then unfold from there. Ultimately, every story, including a feature story, needs to have the basic information. This is often in a newsroom called the NUT graph, N-U-T-G-R-A-F. It's newspaper slang. Graph means paragraph. I have no idea what nut comes from, but the term is nut graph. So in a news story, the nut graph will be in the lead. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. In a feature story, that might not be in the lead, but it will have to be in the story somewhere. The story still has to answer those basic questions. There still has to be a reason to do the story. So a feature story is defined by how it's written, but it still conveys important or interesting information. A feature lead should offer a storytelling experience. What's interesting? What's compelling? What hooks the reader or viewer into the story? So one option is to start with an interesting anecdote and let the story develop from there. Another option is to use a single person who typifies the story. So you write about that person in the lead, and the story unfolds from there to reveal that the individual you wrote about is part of a larger trend. And it doesn't have to be an individual. You can cite a singular instance of something and then let the story unfold to reveal that it is part of a larger trend, and that's the story you're telling. In a feature story, it is very easy to fall into the trap of writing a cliche. Don't do it. It was a dark and stormy night. Once upon a time. These things were fine once. By the zillionth time they've been used, they will turn people off. And yes, I know that Quentin Tarantino just released a movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He was being ironic. So avoid cliches. You should avoid cliches all the time, but in feature stories, it is so easy to fall into that trap. Keep it in mind.